Today we're going to focus on the creating and developing a chart, basic chart. Everybody looks at charts, right? Time series analysis. We look at the history of price action over a period of time to help give us some insights. All right, let's get at it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. We have a blank chalkboard here, right? We could create what we want. I logged into NinjaTrader and I get this control panel up here. This is the control panel. We covered the control panel before, and we're going to cover it again in more detail. But there's a lot of stuff going on in this control panel. It gives you the ability to completely customize your workspace, your trading desktop. And you might have one monitor, you might have multiple monitor setups. That's a personal preference as well. And since this particular control panel opens up independent windows, you could really, your inner Picasso could come out and you could create a look and feel that's right for you. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go over to the upper menu bar and click on that new button. When I click on that new button, it brings me down a drop-down menu of options of things I could add, new things I could add to my workspace. And so I'm just going to simply go to chart. I'm going to go to the word chart. I'm going to click on it. Seems reasonable. And it's going to open up a dialog box. All right. So it didn't open up a chart, but it's getting ready. It's going to ask me some questions. Now, the first thing I want to do is pick a market that I'd like to look at. Remember, there's many different asset classes that are available to trade through NinjaTrader, including stock index futures, energy markets, Forex currency futures is another one, treasury complex, the whole yield curve you could trade. So there's a lot of opportunities here. So software says, hey, what do you want to look at? And at the very upper left corner there's a box that says instruments. And I could either select or I could type in a symbol. Now, this is a smart search. I'm just going to type in ES because I know that's the symbol for the E-mini S&P, ES. And it's going to give me a drop-down menu again with all sorts of options. Like, all right, Jim, which one do you mean? These are all the keywords that have ESs in it and things you could add. Do I want to add a CFD airline basket? No, I don't want to add that. I want to look for the E-mini futures. And sure enough, there it is, right? I could scroll down and there's other options, but I'm going to go ahead and pick E-mini S&P futures. This is the E-mini S&P stock index futures. I'm just going to click on that, double click on that, and it's going to populate into the dialog box. Now, you can see it's applied on the left right here. So right away, I'm looking at it. I'm like, all right, am I looking at the right thing here? And I am, E-mini S&P. On the right-hand side, this is where I kind of tell it what kind of chart I want. And let's start at the top here. Prices are going to be based on the last price as usual. It's going to be, real-time data coming into my chart. And then the type here, you have several different options. You have options ranging from tick charts to range bars, volume bars, minute, intraday charts, daily charts, weekly charts, monthly charts, and all of this fancy stuff, right? Takanashi, Renko, point and figure, any of these options are available to you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll start with an intraday chart first, and I'm going to hit minute. I'm going to click on the word minute. And then the next dialog box, next category is value. All right, Jim, you want a minute chart, right? You want you want to analyze your data on a minute basis, but how many minutes? So here I have 10, right? If I wanted to look at a 30-minute chart, I would change that to 30 minutes. If I wanted to look at a 15, I change it to 15. But I'm going to keep it at 10 for now. Next section is, hey, how much data do you want to backlog? How much data do you want to download? Now, for an intraday chart, for a 10-minute chart, for me, 5 days is plenty. That's a week worth of data. That's plenty. If you want to go back further, you can. On historical charts or daily charts, we'll call historical charts. Weekly, monthly are historical charts. You can go back a lot further than that, obviously. So we're going to keep moving here. I have a chart style. I'm going to keep this chart style at candlestick, right? There's many different chart styles. You got box, equal volume, you got hollow candlestick, line on close is very popular, open, high, low, close, mountain, point and figure. So these are different types of charts that I can get. Remember, at the top, it's what kind of data series do I want? And now it's like, what kind of chart do I want? So I'm going to keep it a candlestick. Bar width, I'm going to keep it at 3. I could always edit that really easily later. And then the color scheme here, I'm going to keep the same. You could change the color scheme here as well if you'd like. Scrolling down, this is all visual stuff here in this area right here, visual stuff. One thing that I'd like to kind of show is price marker. And this is kind of a thing that a lot of people ask me about. Hey, Jim, I want the price marker to show up. Or, hey, Jim, I don't want the price marker to show up. Well, by expanding this category here called price marker, you could just go over to where it says visible and hit the check button, and then you'll see it. If you uncheck it, you won't see it. So pretty easy. And then since we're going to be showing chart trader as well, you could place trades from the charts. You could also color code stuff and format the way your chart trader is. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a 10-minute candlestick chart, and I'm going to hit the OK button. And there it is. It opened up a chart for me, exactly how I hoped it would. We have, up candles are green, down candles are red. And this is a bare chart. There's nothing else. There's no indicators. There's no volume. There isn't anything. We just have price on the right-hand side, right? And the Y-axis, they would call it. And then time at the bottom, broken down into 10-minute increments. And it's very, very easy to I'm just going to position this in the middle of the screen for a second to manipulate the borders. Right. So as an example, on the bottom axis, if I want to see more data, I just grab the bottom time with my mouse and I pull it over, pull it sideways, pull it backward. It's really easy to do. And that's the same with the Y-axis, right? You want to have a different view. You want to kind of make it add some white space to the top and bottom of your chart. You want to expand it. And that's really how it is. One other super cool trick is hold down your control key on your keyboard. It's usually on the bottom left of your keyboard. Hold it down, and then you could grab the middle of the screen and just kind of move it around with that hand. You can kind of put it any direction you want, up, down, diagonal, sideways. In a pinch, that's an easy, easy way to do it. The F button on the upper right, click on that, and it's going to kind of center things for you. And then there's this backspace arrow as well, which brings everything, that arrow brings everything to the very front of the chart. So that's kind of how you kind of navigate around once you have a chart open. Now, the really great thing about the NinjaTrader software, well, one of the many great things, is I could have another chart, right? I could open up another chart side by side if I want to do that. Well, let's do that. I'm going to go back up to the NinjaTrader control panel. I'm going to click on New again, and I'm going to click on Chart again, right? I'm going to open up another chart, and it'll give me the same question. Hey, Jim, what do you want to look at? Well, again, I could go ahead and either type in a symbol, or if I've already added symbols in the past, you're going to have a little bit of a history up here at the top. When on the drop-down menu, you'll see these are recent charts that I've added to my workspaces. And then below it are categories. So if you're not really sure, you could search a category for, micros, for instance, or interest rates. Here's all the interest rate products, right? From the 30-year bond down to the 2-year note. That's all right there. So it's kind of quick click. You could add it. We'll do another E-mini S&P. Let's just do another E-mini S&P. I'm going to click on that. Same thing. Hey, Jim, what do you want this thing to look like? Well, I'm going to change this from a candlestick to say, let's do an open, high, low, close. Let's do an open, high, low, close. I'll keep everything the same. And then I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to open it up. And you could notice the difference, right? You could notice the difference of these two types of charts. They're in essence the same, to be honest with you. I mean, they're both tracking the high of the bar, the low of the bar, the open of the bar, the close of the bar. Just with the Japanese candle, it fills in the middle for you. And it fills in the middle for you with a color, right? To tell you, did the price go up during that 10-minute period, or did the price go down that 10-minute period? So it's really great information. So again, you could have as many of these open as you want, as many different types open as you want, as you're kind of developing your overall picture. I'm going to go ahead and close this one. We are going to focus on this particular 10-minute chart right here. So we're going to fill it in. We're going to add some stuff, right? We're going to make it a little bit more useful. Now, one other thing that I did want to point out on the upper left, under chart, style here, on that button up here on the top of the menu bar up here on the chart itself, I clicked on it and it gives me some options, right? I could change my bar spacing. I could separate them. I could bring them closer together. I could change my bar width. I could make the bar width smaller. And then there's some keyboard functions that do that as well. You could kind of memorize those keyboard functions. And so I'll just go ahead and make the candle width a little bit more narrow. Now, the other buttons up here, these are my drawing tools, right? Drawing tools here include, lines and text and Fibonacci retracements and all that good stuff. We'll go through that in detail. I have a magnifying glass. I have a pointer. Right now I have crosshairs selected. I could change it to an actual pointer or a global crosshairs, which will span charts if I have them side by side. So that's pretty helpful. And then we have a data box, and then we have what looks like a egg blender. Remember those old-fashioned egg blenders? This is you click on this, and this turns on or off your chart trader, right? That gives you the ability to trade from the chart, or it takes away the ability to trade from the chart in case you don't want to accidentally click and make a mistake. Say, nope, I don't want to trade from the chart. I want to trade from the trading ladder instead. Totally up to you. Or you could have them both on, and you could turn on chart trader and hide it so it doesn't have its panel. We'll take a look at that in detail too. This little squiggly, I don't know what this is, squiggly line is your indicators. You click on that and it gives you all sorts of indicators that are available to you up in this upper left-hand side. And we're going to add some stuff here in a second. And so again, there's some strategies that you could create with the next button. And then the last button here is properties. You could change some of the properties on your chart itself. But we're going to go ahead and start with this 10-minute candle, and we're gonna build it, right? We're gonna kind of build it how we want to build it. So what do we want to add first? Well, we're going to add an indicator. Remember, you could click on this button up here, or NinjaTrader is very intuitive. You right click somewhere and it gives you a menu, right? It gives you a menu. You right click. This is my favorite way to access menus because I don't know, it's easy. You just right click your mouse. This menu pops open. I'm going to click on the word indicators and I'm going to add it. Okay, so nothing's configured. Remember, we're starting from scratch. So now I'm going to add some indicators here, and I don't know. Let's add a simple moving average. Let's add a simple moving average. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to recognize SMA. Aha, simple moving average. I want to add a simple moving average to this time series chart, and I'm going to go ahead and double click on it. It's going to go ahead and bring it down here to the configured section. Now, if you don't double click, you single click, you can go all the way down to configure and just click add, and that'll add it also. So now I have two instances of a simple moving average. If I want to remove one, I highlight it and I go down to the remove button at the bottom of the configure section. Click on it and it goes away. Now, once we have something in the configured section, you could highlight it, which this one's already highlighted. It's the only one we have. And then I could change my parameters on the right side, right? I could change my parameters on the right side. So this is a simple moving average, and the default is 14. And in this case, I'm going to change it to, I don't know, we'll change it to 20. I'm going to change it to 20. The input series is exactly the same because I'm on a 10-minute chart. I don't want a different simple moving average on it. So I'm going to keep it based on that 10-minute chart. And then I'm going to calculate on bar closed. Well, this is an intraday chart. We got real-time streaming data here measured in milliseconds. I'm going to change that to either on each tick or on price change. I'll change it to on each tick. So every time we have a new tick, every time we have a new trade, we're going to have this moving average recalculate and change in real time as the market's moving. Maximum bar lookup for this case is fine. 256, I believe, is plenty. We're only asking for 20, but we want to see a line, right? And then visual here, you could change all of your visual inputs. Now, panel is important. Panel here, it says same as input series, right? And when you think about that, we're going to add this moving average on top of the existing candle chart instead of in its new pane. And I'll show you how to do a new pane in a minute, but let's start with that. So let's start with simple, and we'll keep it in the same input series, which means the same panel. We only have one panel right now. Now, colors, I'm going to change my colors because I'm going to add more lines, and I kind of want to make it so I can see it. So without confusing me too much, I get confused enough as it is. So I'm going to go ahead and just in life in general, by the way, for those of you who know me, I'm joking. So let's go to color, right? I'm going to change this color to, let's make it blue, navy blue. But all of these colors we have to choose from. I'm going to click on the top, navy blue, and I'm going to hit apply. Well, hang on, not done yet. A solid, we'll keep it a solid line. We could make it a dash or dash or dash dot dot or dot if you want. And I'm going to go ahead and keep the width the same. We'll make the width 2 so we can see it better. I'm going to go ahead and change the width of this moving average line, and I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to hit OK, and there we have it. We have a 20-period moving average. Now, one thing that's cool is on the upper left-hand side of your screen, it reminds me, right? It reminds me, and sometimes this is helpful when you have a whole bunch of things that are relatively close to each other. You can kind of remember what you have. You don't have to display that if you don't want, and I'll show you how not to display it in a second. but we just added that. So that's a moving average. Let's add another moving average, only let's add one that has a different period to it, right? We'll create what's called a moving average cross. I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to go to my indicators option on my pop-up box there. And I'm going to add a second instance. I'm scrolling down to simple moving average. Where is it at? It starts with an S, Jim. And we got to scroll a little bit more. Here we go. SMA again, double click, brings it down. Default still 14. We don't want default. We're going to change it to a fast moving average. Let's call it 6-period moving average, right? 10-minute chart still good. Calculate on bar closed. We're going to change that on each tick. Everything else is good to go. And now same panel. I'm going to put it on the same panel. I'm not going to move it down below the chart. I'm going to go ahead and hit that drop-down menu. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick a different color because, again, I want to be able to differentiate between fast and slow moving averages. And we're going to end up with a 20 and a 6 simple moving average on the chart. So I'm going to go to color, and I'm going to hit that drop-down menu again. I'm going to change it to red because red means fast, right? Red is fast. This is the fast moving average. This is the 6. It's going to be more sensitive to data because it's only calculating 6 instead of 20 data points. And everything, and again, line width, we'll make it 2. I'm going to hit apply and OK. And there we have it. Now, someone might say, well, Jim, that red is no good because you're going through all these candles. It's kind of messy. It's going to really kind of mess up the way you're seeing things, which is absolutely true. So I'm going to go in and change the color again, but I want to talk about some other stuff in a second. Here's the moving averages both on here. Now, before we move them down to a new panel, let's add an oscillator. Right. Let's add an oscillator to this chart. Some people like RSI, MACD, CCI. There's a whole bunch of them. I'm going to go back to my indicator list here to see what's available to me. And, it's just an endless amount of oscillators. I recommend, we've been using fast stochastics lately in the opening range show as an idea. But we'll just go ahead and use, I don't know, the commodity channel index. Let's double click on that, the commodity channel index. And again, I like to have a 20 period on this particular oscillator. I'm going to change it to a 20. And remember, this could be RSI. It could be MACD. It could be whatever you think is better for you and whatever you understand more. That's the one you should go with. But I like the CCI. We're going to add the commodity channel index. And I'm going to change again, calculate on each tick, right? 20 period, calculate on each tick. Now, new panel. This is different. It's telling me, Jim, do you want to put this oscillator is the same as the input series, or which is panel 1, right? We only have one panel so far. You can see it's panel 1. Or do you want to make it a new panel, which will create a panel 2? I want to create a panel 2. So I'm going to hit new. And then colors. There's some colors down here as well. So you could change some colors to kind of make it easier for you. If you want the 0 line red or something to give you a better view of it. I like to add stuff to the chart, see how it looks, and then go back and edit it. That's kind of like what I like to do, but let's go ahead and apply and OK. And there we have it. You can see it's too subtle really to see, so I'm going to kind of spruce it up a little bit. We're going to go back here I'm going to right click again. I'm going to go to indicators, and simply to edit one of these studies or pieces of information that you're putting on your chart, you're just going to highlight in the configured section the one you want to change. I want to change that CCI. I'm going to click on that. In the plots here, I'm going to open up the plots. I'm going to expand the plot options, and I'm going to get some options here. First of all, the color. No, we need some bold action here. We need to see it. We need to see it in blue. There's the dash or solid style if I want, or on plot style, I could change it to these other things, right? We could change it to blocks or bars. Some people like to see the histogram bars going up and down. Other people don't. These are all the options that you could hit. Let's go ahead and click on bar, see what happens. We'll hit bar. We'll change it to, I don't know, let's change it to 3, maybe 3. We'll make it a little wider. Hit apply and OK. And there we have it. So that's what I mean by histogram bars. They're bars, right? They're up and down bars. And then if you like the line better, you could do the line better. But this is panel 2, right? So I have panel 1 at the top, panel 2 at the bottom. And guess what? I could have a panel 3 if I wanted to. I could have a panel 4. Now my monitor is fairly large, but not super large. So keep that in mind also, and how you're displaying your particular chart. with whatever hardware that you have. Now there's a line in the middle here. I could just drag it. I could make that panel too smaller. I could make that panel too bigger. Either way, I want to do it. And again, if I just kind of toggle, if I just grab that bottom axis here, I could kind of, the whole oscillator goes with you. The whole indicators go with you. Everything moves with you. Everything is totally in sync. Okay, so this is kind of, before we go any further though, the red line's kind of bothering me. So we're going to change it to, we'll change it to a different color. I'm going to go ahead and maybe purple would be a better color, right? So let's go back to right click, indicators. And remember, that's my fast moving average, and that's a 6, right? I'm going to click on the 6, and I'm going to go ahead and change that color. We'll change it to purple. That might be a better color. I just got to scroll around and find the right purple. We'll look at all these purples. We're going to go with dark violet. That sounds like a good color. I'm going to hit apply and okay. All right, so there we have it. We have that moving average on there as well. So there's other things you could add. There's other things you could add and customize. I want to talk about the order flow suite of products for a second, because there are some really good order flow tools that you could add. So we got to have the right version of the software to do this, but let me show you what I mean. Right click, indicators again. I have the right version of the software, and I'm going to scroll down to the order flow tools, order flow. So order flow, let's see. I'm going to add volume weighted average price, VWAP, we call it, volume weighted average price. I'm going to double click on it, and it's going to bring it down to the configured section. I'm going to highlight it because I'm going to edit it a little bit. There's a couple of things we have to consider when we're adding volume weighted average price. I love this study. I use it every day, in the morning and the afternoon, throughout the day. It's permanently baked on my chart. I'm a big fan of the order flow version of the software. So I'd suggest you take a look at it also. So what do we have here? We just have a lot of standard stuff. Trading hours isn't something I have talked about yet. You get this option. I know I'm going a little out of order, but that's okay. This trading hours thing here. The default is a 23-hour session, right? Because in the futures markets, there's not an extended trading hour. There's not a regular trading hour. It's all regular. It's 23 hours in a row, nonstop, Sunday night to Monday afternoon. And that repeats all the way until Friday at the close. Saturday, you take the day off. So, however, some people only like to see charts and data based on, let's say, the New York Stock Exchange, right? The New York Stock Exchange. So this is where, and that opens up at 9:30 East Coast time. So all that morning data wouldn't be there, but maybe you're a trader that thinks that's noise and you don't want to know about it. So if that's the case, I would kind of pick, I would go down to, in data series, CME, and I would look for index regular trading hours. And here it is, CME US equity futures regular trading hours. And it'll start your chart at 9:30 East Coast time. So I'm going to keep mine the same because I think it's important for me to see all of them. Standard deviation bands are 3 in this particular case. That's the most you could have. I'm going to go ahead and change it to 2. Now we have areas of shading. I'm not going to edit any of these areas just yet. I just want to show you what it looks like when it pops up. But there's you could shade things different colors. Down here on plots, you have the ability also to change things. Of course, we'll leave this. We're going to change the actual VWAP color here to something a little bit more important, right? Important. I don't know. We'll go dark green on that one. And I'm just going to hit apply and okay. Now it added it here to my chart, right? And it's messy. It's super messy, right? You're looking at this and going, Jim, you got charts all over the place. What's going on here? I'm going to do a couple of things to make it look a little better. That VWAP line here is in the middle. You can see it's green on its way up. It's red on its way down. That's the middle line. And then you have the first standard deviation band above it. You have the first standard deviation band below it. You have the second standard deviation band above it. And you have the second standard deviation band below it. That's kind of, those are the bands, right? But we're going to make it a little bit easier to see. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go back to, again, my indicators. It's going to open up this dialog box here. And I'm going to go find my order flow volume profile. I'm going to click on it. One of the things that sometimes helps is the standard deviation area color, the standard deviation between the 1s and the 2s. So the 2s, I'm just going to set this to transparent. So I got to find transparent on my list here. And it's at the top, transparent. And that should take away those colors in between. You could also change the lines to make them a little more subtle. So for instance, the second standard deviation upper band, we're going to make it more subtle. We're just going to hit the drop down menu, and we'll pick I don't know, we'll pick light sky blue, right? Light sky blue. And then we're going to do the same thing with the standard deviation, lower second standard deviation band. Come on, Jim. There we go. And then light sky blue. And I'm going to hit apply, and we'll see what it looks like. Apply and okay. All right, now it's looking a little better, right? Now it's looking a little bit better. The shaded area is not there. That shaded area is not there. But I'm still not really crazy about this look or feel. So I'm going to move down this moving average crosses to its own panel. I'm going to just move them down to its own panel so it's not actually on the chart, causing all of this line confusion. So I'm going to go right. I'm going to hit that indicator again. And so I got to pick them one at a time. This is that first standard deviation, right? This is the 20 period. Now I'm going to create a new panel. I'm going to create a new panel, and I'm going to hit apply. So you could see it moved down to the third panel at the bottom of my screen. I have to do the second one with the other moving average. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the other moving average, and I'm going to go back to panel again. This time, though, that third panel is there. That 3 is there because I already created it. I just created it. So 3 is already there. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to hit OK. All right. So now things are looking up, right? Things are looking a little bit better. And you can continue to, play around with colors and settings and all of that stuff as you go out throughout the day, as you kind of develop your chart book as well. So I usually add volume profile to my chart also. We could do that, but I think gives you a good idea on how to add stuff and how to customize stuff. I'm going to right click on indicators again, and let's go back to that. Let's go back to that order flow VWAP one more time. Just make sure I have everything exactly how I want it. So I don't like this color change. I don't like this color change. We have, we could order flow VWAP is supposed to be dark green. So let's make it all dark green, dark green, dark green. This will help also. Now, also the color here, I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. The color and we can do light blue for now. I'm going to open up a little bit, make it a little bit lighter. Hit apply, hit OK. There we go. Now we're looking even better, right? Now we're looking even better. All right, so now I've created my chart. Let's say I'm happy with this, right? I got order flow VWAP, I got a moving average cross, I got an oscillator. Now keep in mind, this is just for demonstration purposes. You could add or subtract whatever you want on your charts, right? You could have Bollinger Bands up there if that's something that you like to look at. Keltner channels, all of that stuff is available in the indicator area. So I like this chart, but I want to continue. I want to kind of continue to make my my desktop. So I want to make another one of these, right? I want to make another one of these for a different market, but I don't want to actually have to recreate the whole thing again. So you could duplicate this chart without recreating all. You could just duplicate it exactly how it is, and then change the market you're looking at. It'll save a ton of time. I'm going to I'm sorry. Well, here we could duplicate the window. Again, you right click on the borders and stuff happens. So right click and you could duplicate the window, and it's going to duplicate that window for me. And I have two of the same charts, right? I have two E-mini S&Ps side by side. Everything's the same. All I need to do is go up here and change the market. I've typed in CL because I know that's the ticker symbol for crude oil, right? I want to see a crude oil chart. I'm going to click that, double click that, and it's going to maintain all of my information. And I don't have to go through that whole process again of color coding stuff and adding indicators and all that stuff. It's just boom, I duplicate, change the market I want to look at in the upper dialog box in the upper left, and we're done. The same thing is true if I wanted to duplicate the chart and create, let's say, a 30-minute candle, right? So let's do it again. Right click, let's duplicate. we have a new window that pops up, independent window, and I want to make it a 30-minute chart. I'm going to hit that select button, that drop-down menu. I'm going to go over to the number 30. I'm going to click, and now I have a 30-minute chart with all the same stuff on it that I was looking for in the first place. All right, easy peasy. So far, so good. If you want to cancel, if you don't want one of these windows, you just close them. Now, major tip. All right, everybody's got to put your pencils down for a second. When you're done with whatever your layout is, with the trading ladder, with charts and matrices and all sorts of stuff, when you're done with it and you have everything positioned the way you want it to be positioned, close your software from the control panel. This little X button up here, it'll ask you, are you sure you want to quit and you want to save your stuff? You say yes if you want to save, because when you log back in the next time, it'll be exactly how you left it, right? So keep that in mind. That's a major tip. If I close one of these boxes and then exit the software, it'll think I didn't want that box and it won't show me it the next time I open. Make sense? All right. Any questions? Dave asks, why wouldn't you just use the MACD? You have just created it, but in a simple panels. Well, okay, so I added CCI instead of MACD, but I'm, same thing, right? Oscillator. I put it in a second panel. I could put it in the first one, but again, the more stuff you put in your first panel, the more clutter it gets. It's personal preference, right? So I like to see it below here. And then when you go ahead and apply the crosshairs is kind of universal, right? It goes high to low. It takes into account all the panels. So I could panel over where my crosses happened. I could panel over where the CCI is high, and I kind of see what happened with the chart. All right. And so Dave's got another great question, and that's exactly the next thing I'm going to show you. All right. So that's an awesome question. Dave says, hey, can I also duplicate windows in a different tab? That's right. We have tabs at the bottom, and you can see at the bottom here, I have ES December 23. I could either click that plus sign and create a brand new chart, or I could put my mouse, I don't know, hopefully you can see it at the lower left. I could put my mouse on the tab and I could right click, and it gives me two options. It says duplicate in new tab or duplicate in new window. Well, we already showed you how to duplicate it in a new window. I'm going to duplicate it in a new tab. I'm going to hit it right there. Boom. So now I've duplicated it in a new tab. And I could toggle back and forth between tabs by clicking on them, right? And again, a lot of folks would say, all right, well, this one's going to be my 15-minute chart. I'm going to right click. I'm going to duplicate it again in a new tab. This one's going to be my 30-minute chart, and so on and so forth. Alternatively, you could make them different markets. So you could have a whole window just devoted to 15-minute charts with all of the different markets that you're looking at. So Dave, great question. You're right on point. Appreciate the question. Any other ones, just toss them in. We'll be happy to talk about it. So that's how you do that. It's pretty neat, pretty cool. Any other questions, type them in. We're making good on time. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of put these side by side for now. And I have a couple of things going on as well. Now, we didn't really cover this, but this is another thing you could do. When you go to the new tab, I get this question a lot. I'm going to create a new chart. And again, we'll do the ES, type in ES as a symbol. I'm going to click on the word ES, and it's going to populate, again, this information. Now, let's say I wanted to do a tick chart, right? Some folks are familiar with tick charts. I'm going to go, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to go to, where's my tick charts at? Tick charts, again, data series is going to be the way to go. I'm going to click on in minute. I'm going to change it to tick, right? So I can have a candle or a bar, either one, with just that it will change on ticks, and you could put whatever value you want there for that, right? How many ticks are traded before you get another bar? Let's go ahead and okay. Go ahead, okay. And it's going to look a little similar, but different, right? So now we're every new bar is 150 ticks before the next bar starts, right? 150 ticks before the next bar starts. And it's no longer based on time on the bottom, but it's the same idea, right? You could kind of see the flow as we go. All right, so that's another thing you could do. I'm going to close it, and let's go ahead and add a range bar. These are pretty cool too. New, I'm going to go to charts, and I'm going to go ahead and, again, ES. I'm going to click on ES, and I'm going to look for range bars, and I'm going to hit the drop-down menu and hit range. And now what I have to do is select how tall, how high is the candle going to be before a new candle forms, right? And so since this is the E-mini S&P, it's traded in quarter points. I'm going to make it a multiple of 4. I'll make it 8. And so now we're going to get a new bar every eight ticks or 2 points. Let's hit OK. And again, it's going to look similar, but it's different, right? It's changing as you go forward. Once that range is achieved, then it will go ahead and make the new range after those 8 are hit. Make sense? It's also kind of popular. All right. I'm going to close that up. And those are the kind of charts. So I would experiment with those different types of charts. Let's go ahead and pivot. Joe, hang tight on that. I'll get to that in a second. Let's go ahead and talk about the chart trader, placing trades on the chart. We're going to have a whole segment on how to trade. Actually, let me just open this up all the way. So the egg beater, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to click on that egg beater. I'm going to hit on the chart trader. I'm going to open it up. And then I have a panel that comes up on the right. And you could customize this panel, make it different colors if you want. You're just going to right click and hit that properties button. It'll open up a dialog box, and you could change, you could format this, the chart trader ladder itself. But we won't go into that today. But there's a buy at the market button on the top, sell at the market button, buy on the ask, and buy on sell on the ask, buy on the bid, or sell on the bid, right? They're not market orders, but they get you close to the market. Reverse, close flattens your position and cancels all of your orders. You could, and then it shows you here like some P&L information and stuff like that. So I have this instrument's already chosen because this is the chart we're on, right? I have to put an account in. Let's go ahead and put one of my accounts in here. We'll call this one SimCags. Order quantity, I'm going to set to 1. And I'm not going to have an OCO on this. I'm not going to have an ATM strategy. I could add it real easily. And coming up soon, I don't know if it's the next one or the one after that. I'll talk about how to create an ATM strategy. And then there's some bid and ask information. Right click again, it gives you some more options. I'm going to leave that alone for now. And let's say I want to place an order, a limit order to sell an E-mini S&P at, I don't know, 71.50. I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit sell. It's going to throw an order in. I got the label. Once I get filled, the label adjusts and tells me exactly what my position is. It's red, right, which means I'm short. And then it has my open P&L moving around within that little label itself. And again, you could customize the label. So that's how I put a limit order in. Now, if I want to put a profit target in again, let's say my opinion is, we're going to go down to this upper first standard deviation band. I'm just making it up. Don't follow along, live account at home. This is a demonstration. I'm going to go ahead. My drop-down menu comes up, and I can see buy limit, right? This is buy limit. This means I'm going to put an order in to buy a contract at 67.25, and that will create a flat position. In other words, I won't have a position anymore. I sold high and bought low. That's the idea of going short. Now, alternatively, I want to put a stop loss in. I'm like, okay, well, I could be wrong, right? I know it'd be hard to believe, but I could be wrong. And I don't want to have unlimited risk. So I want to do some risk management. I'm going to put my mouse up to the area that I want to place my stop. And again, right click the mouse. It gives me my options. And I'm simply going to go to buy stop. I'm just going to hit that buy stop market. If we get up there, I'm out. I'm stopped out of the market. It's and I'm flat. And then I could cancel these orders easily by clicking on those X's, and I could adjust them by just dragging them. Grabbing it with your mouse, clicking it, dragging it again, and then you'll be able to. And that's basically canceling and replacing an order, and that happens really quickly in sim mode and in live mode. So that's a pretty handy feature. If you just want to be a chart trader, you could kind of It helps me because I could see my levels better instead of kind of like moving my mouse up and saying, all right, 77.50, I want to be a couple ticks above that. I'm going to go over to my dome now. And by that time, I probably forgot my price. so so it's really easy for me just to use that chart trader. It's a super handy feature, and we're going to go over it in a lot of detail in the future. So we covered a lot of ground so far. Joe asks, how do you put? Let's see. Can you show how to put a moving average on an RSI? Yeah, so we'll just keep it. We'll keep the commodity channel, the CCI there. And let's see if I remember how to do this. So I'm going to go to indicators, and then I'm going to go ahead and select moving average. So we'll go to simple moving average. We might be a little redundant with respect to this type of indicator, but let's just go to simple moving average, double click, and I'm going to change everything that I need to change, right? But my input series is different. My input series is 3. My input series is 3. And let me double check all of my options here. Input series, we might have to change the input series here. So we're going to edit the input series. And we are going to go and pick the, what do we have here? With CCI. And then I had a 20 period CCI. Input series on close, which is fine. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit apply. And we're going to hit OK. Now, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? So the problem you have with so the moving average cross changed so what just happened, Joe, the moving average cross changed the values on the right-hand side. So let's go back and see if we can fix this. Let's go back to data series. And no, I'm sorry, not data series. Let's right click and go back to indicators. And we'll see what we did wrong here. So simple moving average cross on the CCI, which is 20 period. Input series looks correct. On price change, and let's see, data in box is good. Price marker is good. Right justify is good. Bars look back is good. So let's try to figure out what exactly is not happening right here. So we have the price of the actual moving average is there, and that's what we're trying to defend against. So hang tight on that. I'm going to see if Mission Control has a solution for me, and then I'll get right back to this question, Joe. So hang tight 1 second. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and remove it. So indicators. I'm going to go back down to the one I added that it didn't add right. I'm going to cancel it, hit apply, and OK. And again, it did not do what I thought it was going to do. I'm going to hit that F button there. And then there is, oh, I put it on the wrong panel, I think. That could be it. Let's try one more time. Joe, let's try one more time. We could do this. Indicators. Let's go back down to moving average, simple moving average. Input series, we're going to change again to CCI, Commodity Channel Index. I'm going to hit period's going to be 20, though. Remember, I changed it to 20. 20. I'm going to hit OK. And then panel is going to be 2, not 3. Panel should be 2, not 3. Let's see if we crack the code. I'm going to hit apply and OK, and we did it. Now I made one more mistake. We're going to correct my mistake. I see what it is, Joe. But you see, I put it on the wrong panel before. That's why it was funky. So we've got it right now. It's bad color, and I have it on last bar. I don't have it on each tick. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. Right click, indicators, SMA. Man, we're fighting today, right? Instead of bar closed, we'll go on price change. And then we'll make this maybe a little bit bigger so we can see it. We'll call it a 2 print on that moving average. And again, we'll make this 20. So I'm going to apply and OK. And there we did it. So Joe, I hope that helps, which is a good thing. I made the mistake the first time I put it on the wrong panel. This is panel 1. This is panel 2. This is panel 3. And then there's my moving average cross on my oscillator. You could do it. I did it on the CCI, not the RSI, but you could do it on an RSI the exact same way. And I'll go ahead and just leave those parameters up real quickly because it's a little tricky. Up on the screen. And here they are. Simple moving average. Input series is key. That's what you got to change. I changed it to CCI. The panel you put it in is key. The period's got to jive. Remember, I have a 20 period instead of a 14 period. It wants to default to 14. All right. Success. We did it. Pretty awesome. Look at that trade idea cranking up. I don't know. Don't follow along live at home. Now on the chart trader, you could still keep it active. I'm going to go back up to the egg beater, and I'm going to just make it hidden, right? I'm just going to make it hidden. So it still works, right? I can still right click. I can still add my targets and stuff. It's still all good. All right. I think we covered most of the stuff we're going to cover today. One last thing I do want to show you. I'm going to toggle over. Hopefully this won't take long. Hang tight. I'm going to go to my another workspace here. This is my new test workspace just for today. I'm going to go ahead and go to my top 5 indicators workspace, which is the one I use every day. And let's see if it powers up. It does power up. Window's a little crooked. That's all right. I'm going to straighten it out. Now, one kind of super helpful tip that I did. You can see my quote board on the right. We call it a market analyzer. You could see a control panel still at the top. You could see my chart here, a series of tabs at the bottom. Now, what I've done is I linked the chart with this little orange button up here. You see it says chart instrument. I could choose a color for an instrument link, and I do the same thing on my quote board. I go up there, I choose the same color. So now, if I have my series of tabs at the bottom, I have a weekly, I have a daily, I have a 10-minute. If I want to change any of these markets I'm looking at, I simply go to my market analyzer and click on the quote. And when I click on the quote, it changes all of these tabs at the bottom, at least the 3 that I have anchored to E-mini S&P, E-mini S&P, E-mini S&P. That saves me a lot of time also, especially if you have a small kind of, one monitor or 2 monitors, you don't have a lot of views, they have a whole bunch of different charts open. That's kind of a real handy way to kind of toggle back and forth. Time to trail my stop to break even a little bit here, guys. Let me do that. All right, covered a lot of ground today. Most important message of the day, please be safe out there. Be good to each other.